Welcome to Ask Win, everyone. I am so honored to have Miss Kim Sutton with me. Kim Sutton is a woman of many hats, one woman of many hats. She is the mother of 6 kids. She also has the Positive Productivity podcast, which in the name it says Positive Productivity. She brings on inspirational people like myself. I was on her podcast. She has a bunch of others. So this is my PSA before I bring Kim in. Please, 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 please stop this podcast and go subscribe to Kim's podcast because we all need new fans out there. And please go subscribe to the Positive Productivity podcast. Say that 10 times fast. And then you can come back to this podcast and hear Kim's story and how she lost her job in architecture and started all this craziness called podcasting and private coaching and newsletter and fusion stuff. So without further ado, I'm going to let Miss Kim take it away.
Oh, my gosh. Thank you for that incredible introduction, Wynn. I so appreciate that. And hi, everybody. I'm loving making your acquaintance if you've never listened to me before. And, yes, I wear so many hats. I don't even know where you want me to start, Wynn, but I am a mom of 5, ranging in age from 3-year-old twins to a 15-year-old. And they alone could keep me busy full time. But on the side, I don't even know if that's an accurate description. I also have 2 businesses. One is the Positive Productivity brand, and the other is a digital marketing practice. I'm an Infusionsoft certified partner, so I have a full client load over there as well.
So you do two companies, and along with being a mom to 5 kids. Geez. And I don't know how you do it, Kim. My life's been crazy enough, and I don't even have kids of my own. My life is crazy enough, but I don't know how you do it and still stay sane. Geez.
When one of the earliest things that I realized was that I can't do it all. So to be completely transparent, my house is a mess because it's either pursue my passion or clean the house. I'm not saying it's disgusting by any means, but like right this moment, there are a whole bunch of kid books on the floor in my office because the kids were reading them. They didn't put them away. Yes, I could have cleaned them up, but I want my kids to learn responsibility, and I just didn't have time to nag them to pick it up. But I've learned, we can't do it all. So most days, and I'm sure a lot of moms can relate, we live out of laundry baskets because there are other things that I want to do with my time. And until, I can have 15 Mary Poppins living in my house, then we do what we can do and we don't stress about the rest.
Yes, I believe that. I am in a little bit of a situation right now where I'm trying to get my book in front of an agent to get out of the self-publishing loan, and it's been a long process, and my ghostwriter doesn't understand the concepts of agent links books, and so she's a little bit mad at me because I said, well, I saw this project onto you, and I'm like, yeah. So that's my situation right now, and I'm like dealing with that. But you're right, we can't stress about every single little thing. And so, Kim, for those of us who are listening to this podcast, want to hear your story after they subscribe to your podcast, Positive Productivity, and they're like, I can't do what Kim and Wynn are doing. I can't run 2 companies. I can't hold myself up as a disabled person. What do you suggest?
first things first, you need to follow your passion. And I, for the longest time, was chasing income rather than following my heart and trying to make an impact. So the first thing is you need to decide what that one thing is that really lights you up. And then the second thing is just take small steps every day. Rome wasn't built in a day, right? So all we can do is what we can do. And as long as you remember that first, it doesn't matter if you can do what I'm doing or if you can do what you're doing when. We can all do the best that we can do. And the second most important thing to remember is there are a certain amount of hours in every week. Everybody has the same amount of hours. But first we have to prioritize self-care time. And I'd love to talk about that a little bit more later if you don't mind, Wynn. But we have to remember to take care of ourselves, get enough sleep, and then in the rest of the time that we have, we just take the little steps that we can to reach the end goal. And then another goal is going to come along, but let's just focus on one at a time.
Yeah. And so let's talk about self-care. What would be your tips for people that are solo entrepreneurs and don't think they can do self-care? I can give you one of my tips. Turn your phone on to Do Not Disturb. Do Not Disturb has saved my sleep.
Well, the biggest tip that I'm going to always share is you have to sleep. In the first 3.5 years of being an entrepreneur in this entrepreneurial journey of mine, and I did have a past journey of entrepreneurship, but in the first 3.5 years here, I was maybe sleeping 2 to 4 hours a night. And where that led me was into severe anxiety and depression, and I share that on the Positive Productivity podcast. And there is no reason why any entrepreneur should be on that journey there's always going to be stress. I'm not saying that there's not going to be stress. But you always have to make time to sleep, or else you are going to get into the worst mental state possible. And I share that from personal experience. And I know this is dark and it's not the most positive subject, but I was ready to kill myself due to lack of sleep and what it was doing to me mentally. So one of the biggest messages I have is please, whatever you do, schedule 6 to 8 hours a night. A lot of people are going to say 8. Schedule 8 hours a night into your calendar for sleep. And you will be more productive tomorrow. You'll be more alert. You'll be more focused. And it's really the best thing that you can do for yourself on any given day.
Yeah. Studies have proven that kids need it, adults need it, disabled or not, especially when you're dealing with, let's just say, the complex challenges of cerebral palsy, aka tone. When I don't get enough sleep, I am a grumpy mess. My tone is off the wall. I feel like I've been run over by a Mack truck. I literally do. I'm like, what happened there? Oh, that's because I stayed up too late. Or that's because I was too stressed out about something. And yeah. So that's another story in itself, that you can't get stressed out.
Right, exactly. Wynn, what do you do? And I'm sorry to flip this back around to you, but what do you do right before bed? And I don't mean brushing.
Oh, I try my hardest to, because I have CPS, as you know, and I need full assistance in getting undressed and dressed and, yeah, all that good stuff. So I try to listen to calming music, or if I haven't finished a podcast, I put that on a timer. So let's just use Kim's podcast, for example, which I now have to subscribe to. Again, thank you very much. I will put the podcast on, and then I will listen to it until I fall asleep. And usually I fall asleep, I would say about 8:39 and get up about 6:45. Yes, I get up about 6:45, and I'm one of the lucky ones that even though I'm a light sleeper, I can sleep through anything. And the way I was raised, thank you, my biological mom, she never really had a night light in my room. And yes, I still live in the same room that I grew up in. So this room that I'm recording a podcast in right now, never really had a night light. So she was one of those types of parents where she would let me scream or let me cry myself back to sleep. So, soothing. And so I'm used to sleeping in a dark room. I'm used to, having a little bit of noise to make me go to sleep. But other than that, that's how I do. That's how I do it.
So it sounds like you are not looking at screens, though, which is great.
No, when I try, I admit, I do check my email before I go to bed, but I try not to look at screens. I try to set my iPhone to do not disturb. I need to be better at not looking at screens, honestly. I try when I typically do a sleep test during the night. That's a new thing. So I can see how much sleep I'm actually getting. A doctor didn't require me to do this. They didn't require me to give up sugar either. I'm just doing that for my own sake. And then, but during that sleep test to see how much sleep I'm actually getting, they say flip the phone over so you're not looking at it, and so it's not doing nothing to you either. So, and I just downloaded an app, and while I'm talking to Kim here, I'm actually going to give you guys the app name from what I've downloaded. The app I'm using to track my sleep is called Sleep Cycle, and I just downloaded it from the App Store on the iPhone. So that's the app I'm using, but they suggest plug the phone in and flip it over. So I'm used to sleeping in a dark room without a night light. That's old. And the sleep study to see how much sleep I actually am getting is a new thing. But I try my hardest not to be looking at screens. I need to get better at that in 2018.
Yes, and I'm going to challenge you to stop checking your email before bed.
Yes, this productivity podcast here. Yes, and I accept that challenge live on this podcast because if we don't get enough sleep, we're the walking zombies. And so Kim and I are saying, you can listen to the podcast before you go to bed, but please don't check your email because that will just send you into oblivion. So as of tonight, this is Wednesday night. I'm not going to check my email. So you guys can deal with it. You guys can deal with it. Kim, you just made my sleep a lot better because you challenged me not to check my email. And so, Kim, you just saved me like a half an hour of worrying, which is not good either. Stressing out over email is not good either. So, I wanted to ask you, what is your favorite book of all time? What is your favorite book? Now, it can be an audio book. It can be a book, but what is your favorite book?
Right now, it's The Power of I Am by Joel Osteen. And the reason why is because It reminds me that I am who I am, and I can't be judging myself because, well, my faith is very important to me. God made me who I am for a reason. And to your listeners, today, you are who you are for a reason. And just remember to embrace that every day. Your nose is the way it is. Your dimples are the way they are. Your hair is the color that it is for a reason. And the thoughts that go into your mind are there for a reason as well. So just remember to have gratitude and start embracing that. And one of the biggest things that the book did for me, Wynn, is I actually, and it didn't tell me to do this, Joel doesn't say to do this, but I actually created an A to Z I am list for myself. And I'll rehearse it to myself. It's not my meditation or my mantra, but I will say it out loud when I'm feeling stressed or anxious, and I'll go through my whole list of I ams. So for each letter of the alphabet, I have a word that I would like to embody in my life. And I had to tell you, some of the days when I'm driving home from daycare with my kids and they are screaming because they're hungry and they're grumpy and they're tired, I'll start rehearsing my I ams in the car just to stay sane. I'll focus on that. And my 4-year-old likes to say, "Are you talking to yourself, Mom?" Yes.
Oh, the 4-year-old.
Yeah.
I wish I had the productivity podcast last year because last year because I taught preschool for 11 years. Preschool, you guys. And I finally gave that up. I'm a lot healthier sleep-wise, healthier sickness-wise. Geez, Kim, when you talk about getting bronchitis and when you're talking about getting the flu, step away from preschool. You'll get a better sense of your health.
Oh, my goodness, yeah. I can't even tell you what my kids come home with. Nobody wants to hear that. But
they come home with God knows what. And I'm like, I need, as soon as my ex-colleague left to move back to family, I said, I'm out of there. I'm out of the goodbye. Find another assistant. My escape plan came in January. Now I'm teaching third grade music, which is a lot happier, a lot saner, a lot calmer, a lot healthier because kids know where the tissue box is and know where the trash can is, and so it's a lot better. But I just wanted to say that if you need mantra, you guys, like use the I am mantra, use Kim's mantra. And I know Kim has a couple of questions for me because we haven't talked in a long time. So I know Kim has a couple of questions for me, but I need to know from Kim where to find her. And so you guys can go subscribe to her Beyond Fusion Soft Science.
Thank you, Wynn. Yes, I can be found easiest on my website at thekimsutton.com, where you can read my blog and listen to the podcast, and also all my social media links are right there in the footer. And there's also an intercom chat box, so feel free to send me a message while you're there, and it is me who responds. So I love getting that notification. Somebody's on the site, and they're sending you a message. So please take advantage of it.
Yeah, please. And so, and I know that Kim will retweet this episode and share it out on social media. Kim doesn't get to do this very often. Kim gets to play podcast host, which she's phenomenal at. But Kim doesn't really get to be on the other side of mic and have people interview her. At least I don't think she does, because she's so busy.
Oh, my goodness. You are so right. Actually, this is the first in quite a while, and there's a few more coming up. So thank you for getting me back on the other side of the microphone.
Well, you're welcome. I I just had to get you back warmed up and explain your story again because, let me tell you, the Positive Productivity podcast kind of took a back seat, but now it's back to you guys, so you can go listen to Kim's back catalog, and yours truly is on that back catalog. So if you guys want to know more about my story and how Kim introduced me, you guys can go listen to that back catalog as well.
Yeah, actually, if I can plug your episode, you can find it at thekimsutton.com/pp080, and there you'll find Wynn's episode with me.
Yes. And, yeah. So, Kim, I know you have a couple of questions for me, and I'll be happy to answer those.
Yes, I do. Wynn, how do you decide what's the priority in any given moment of your day? Because you are busy as well. You are writing a book. I mean, and you also do have the ghostwriter, but you have your podcast and you have your job. How do you decide what's going to take priority in any given moment?
Well, through Mondays through Thursdays, except tomorrow I'm doing snowboarding, playing out in the snow tomorrow. So tomorrow doesn't count. But Mondays through Thursdays, I typically work on my books and I typically work on my podcast. But, and Fridays, depending on what my work day is, and I'm slowly but surely walking away from my job, you guys, because education, even though I love it, and even though it's a stable paycheck, it's not enough to live on. Education teachers don't get paid enough in general, so I would rather teach to a larger audience, and I'm slowly but surely making a plan to walk away from my day job, even though my colleagues listen to this podcast. They are very supportive of my decision, and so after I finish my journalism degree, which will be in spring of 2019, so we hope by 2020 I will be a full-time author.
That's incredible. And I can't wait to watch your journey unfold and see what
Well, I can't wait to share it with you guys. But that's the project I'm calling Project Butterfly, and it's coming together nicely. And so how do I prioritize my day? Well, I put a lot of self-care into my day, and so depending on when my work is, I don't do anything but work. So this year it's on a Friday. And I decided that they gave me the choice. They said, what day do you want? And I said Friday because I was in the state of mind where I have an aide that could actually help on Fridays, and I said Friday. So they gave me Friday, and first of all, I balked and squawked. I said, why didn't you give me Monday? And then I thought about it, and then I thought, well, I requested Fridays, so why am I balking and squawking about something they gave me? And so on Fridays, I don't work on my books. I don't work on the podcast. The podcast is actually going to be published on Tuesdays, Wednesdays, and Thursdays, so you guys can listen to it on Fridays and hear my voice and have that content on Fridays when you're doing the commute. And hopefully my commute is only 5 minutes or 15 minutes away from my house, so I am a really lucky chick that I don't have a really long commute. And especially when I quit my job, my commute will be even shorter out to my desk, but that's not happening at this very moment. but I can't wait to be a solo entrepreneur. I'm slowly but surely making plans, and the plans are coming together, but that's how I prioritize my week, Kim. I do a lot of self-care, as I said, during the week, and so when I'm working at the day job, I don't do anything else but work at the day job.
That's awesome. And I know it's also got to be painful at the same time because your mind is so many places, also thinking about what else you want to do. But good for you. I've seen so many. But
yeah, it is. But I have got to keep this job a little while longer, than I will walk away in 2020. And even though my job loves me and doesn't want me to walk away, I'm going to have to, because I can't do it with the educational restrictions on the paycheck. And even though I want a stable paycheck, I still can't do it on the 152. That's my paycheck, and that's because, and it's nothing having to do with CP. That's because teachers don't get paid in general, from daycare teachers to college professors. We just don't get paid.
Right. And I know from personal experience with friends who have worked in daycares, I've been almost appalled by how much they've gotten paid, especially knowing that they've been taking care of my children.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, and the Christmas bonus for when, I don't know how they do it in Ohio, Kim, where you're based, but the Christmas bonus at $100 in a private school in Colorado doesn't necessarily fly. Although it's a nice treat, but it's still $100. I guess I shouldn't say anything about that, because it's $100 that goes towards my podcast and goes towards your podcast as well, because podcasting isn't cheap, you guys. Podcasting isn't cheap. And so, and raising 6 kids isn't cheap. So, as I said, please go help kids out, because in these tough economic times, you need all the help you can get, Kim.
You can say that again. I have one other quick question for you, though.
Yeah?
If you
ahead.
Go back and tell your 12-year-old self anything from the lessons that you've learned since then, what would you tell her?
If I could go back and tell my 12-year-old self anything, now this is going to make me cry because I didn't do it enough when my biological mom was alive. For those of you that don't know, I'm actually going to work on a book about meningitis and my experience with losing a loved one to meningitis. So if I could tell my 12-year-old self anything, I would say, one, stop and smell the roses, and say I love you more to the people that I care about, because I didn't say I love you enough to my mom, my biological mom, and that was something that I am just heartbroken by, because I lost her at age 23, and even though when I lost her, I commented down mentally in this coma, I didn't say I love you enough and thank you for raising me to the woman I am today in medically in this coma, and I didn't know I was going to lose her at age 23 either. So I would tell my 12-year-old self to go back and say I love you and spend more time with the people that I love and the friends that I love, and just produce the best content that you can, and don't be so, I'm running the race. CT's not running me. As I get older, I get wiser, you guys. And so that's what I would go back and tell my 12-year-old self, Kim.
I absolutely love that.
Yeah.
But I also think it's something that we can all start doing today. So thank you for that so important lesson. Don't forget
you're welcome. You're welcome. Just
that you love them.
Just when, just tell the people that in your life, I love you and everything will be okay. And stop working so hard. I've learned that, and everything is going to be okay. And in these tough economic times, I know, Kim, you were in the field of architecture, and you unfortunately lost your job due to these, in 2008, I believe, when the economic class happened. So now Kim is loving what she's doing again, and her husband, and I need to invite your husband on this podcast too, her husband actually went back to school to become a video game designer, and yeah, I think that's amazing. I think that's amazing that he went back to school to pursue his dream, and I'm actually going back to school to pursue my dream of becoming a freelance journalist. And so I think that's amazing. And so you guys, don't worry about the small stuff. Everything will be okay. Just support the people that love you, and go support Kim. I don't care what you do, whether it's go ask him for advice, go listen to a podcast. Just go and support Kim, please.
Thank you so much, Lynn. That is so...
Well, you're welcome.
And so appreciated.
You're welcome. And I hope you guys enjoy another positive productivity podcast on Ask Lynn. Since we talked about positive productivity, go support Kim. And Kim, they can find it in most podcasting players, and that's just amazing what you're doing, and I support you along the way. I must support you in a way that I'm going to. You might have download numbers in 1% now, because it may be me downloading your back catalog, and hopefully my Ask Win team, I almost called it Butterflies of Wisdom, my Ask Win team will do the same thing. Hopefully those of you who are on the long commute will get positive productivity from Kim. And please, please, please share Kim's episodes out, share my episodes out, so we can make both communities bigger and stronger than they already are. And thanks you guys for tuning in. I hope you guys enjoy another fabulous episode with Miss Kim. Bye, you guys.